China seems to be getting more and more powerful each and every day, and it seems as though they're beginning to get the upper hand when it comes to thriving cities. They've shown that they're capable of building taller skyscrapers than ever before, with many of their cities having a population well over 10 million people. From the city where they probably made your iPhone to a populated area as big as Austria, here are unbelievable Chinese megacities.
Before we get started today, make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think.
Number 13. Kangbashi. It's believed that China's urban cities will contain about 70% of its population in about 15 years. One of China's most well-known ghost towns was Kangbashi, when it was completely lifeless a few years ago, despite its abandoned high-rise apartments, large freeways, and everything a modern city could desire. But just recently, people from all over China began moving here, and despite the surplus of living spaces, it's currently home to 153,000 people. It's believed that one of the reasons they started building the city here was because of the fresh water source they discovered. With the country facing somewhat of a pollution crisis at the moment, any clean water they can get can prove to be very useful. China has come up with a whole new urban strategy: build the city first, then let the people fill in. In the future, Kangbashi could become one of the world's most advanced cities, with enough space to hold 1 million people. Some people believe there are more secret ghost towns in China that we don't know about, waiting to get populated. Number 12. Linfen, China. In some places, there's just something in the air that's not quite right. This is the case for Linfen, China. It's often referred to as one of the most polluted cities in the world. Since China primarily relies on coal for energy, this highly populated country needs a lot of coal to stay powered. So they turn to the people of Linfen, which is located in the Shaanxi province. The city is basically surrounded by coal mines, and much of it is burned to power those mines and people who live there. It seems like a never-ending circle of doom. Breathing air here would be like smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Some claim that hanging up laundry to dry will only result in it turning black from coal ash. It's estimated that some 4.3 million people live in this area. Number 11. Nanjing. Considered to be the second largest city in eastern China, Nanjing is a cultural hotspot and also a modern Chinese megacity. It has things such as skyscrapers, stadiums, and modern marvels such as the Nanjing Zifeng Tower. It's an appropriate place to build a tower because this was once home to a fabled building known as the Porcelain Tower that was later destroyed in 1854. Nanjing has some of the oldest, finest museums in the country, such as the Nanjing Museum, which has over 400,000 items on display. Its population has already been rising since 1950 and is currently home to 8.3 million people. At one point in time, it was the capital of China and has been described as a perfect mix between new and old. It's roughly the size of London and will likely continue to get bigger in the upcoming years. Number 10. Chengdu. Serving as the capital city of the Sichuan province, it's one of the most populated cities in western China and has an urban population of over 10 million people. The culture who lived here before were known as the Sanxingdui people, who have produced some of the most mysterious ancient artifacts ever seen. Chengdu is also considered an important economic, financial, commercial, and cultural center of the region and is often associated with the national animal. It's home to the Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding. It's also home to dozens of universities, including international schools and medical universities. The airport is one of the busiest places in the world and is also home to the New Silk Road, which gives drivers access to the Middle East by road. Some have described it as being an easygoing, stress-free city where the inhabitants often take part in leisure activities. Seems like it would be much better to live here than in Linfen. Many people also recommend coming to the Sichuan Science and Technology Museum that we see here. Number 9. Hong Kong. The city of Hong Kong is slowly starting to become the most unaffordable city in the world, with an average rent price for a one-bedroom apartment being more expensive than the average monthly income. This has brought a divide between the rich and the poor and has led many people in the city to move elsewhere. Buying an apartment in downtown Hong Kong will cost buyers over 4 times as much in LA, while renting prices are at least $300 more per month in comparison. People are expected to pay $2,400 a month, while earning an average income of $2,450 per month. While eating at a restaurant here is surprisingly less expensive than you would imagine, the costs of beef, cheese, wine, and milk are substantially higher than the rest of the US. Don't get us started on the fuel either. Gas prices might startle Americans, reaching $8 a gallon. No wonder they're writing, the rich have purchased a substantial amount of property here, which has made things difficult for the middle class. Another surprising difference is the cost of a gym membership, which goes for an average of $80 a month. Number 8. Dong-Gwon. This massive industrial city located in the Guangdong province ranks only behind Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Suzhou when it comes to exports. So if your product has a Made in China label stamped on it, there's a good chance it might have came from Dong-Gwon. The city has traditionally spoke the Cantonese language, but due to modern day pressure, more and more Mandarin is spoken here. Residents of Dong-Gwon might work for factories of American companies such as DuPont, Coca-Cola, or Nestle. Other companies such as Samsung Electronics and Nokia have manufacturing facilities here. It's also home to the second largest shopping mall in the world, known as the New South China Mall. Number 7. Wuhan. The name roughly translates to the Fighting Han People, and it certainly seems like that may be the case. Built on a central plain on the Yangtze River in the middle of the country, it's considered to be a prosperous cultural, culinary, and educational center of the Hubei province. Some would compare Wuhan to the Chicago of China, not because of the crime here, but because of the geographical location and the culture. If you haven't tried noodles before, you would seem awfully confused in this city because noodles are a part of life. Breakfast is also not to be skipped in this city, and the tradition of eating it dates back to when the inhabitants need a lot of calories to perform hard work in the fields. It's also known for the Tortoise Mountain TV Tower, which soars 726 feet in the sky. Number 6. Tianjin. Considered to be the censorship capital of the world, China's internet, information, and social media providers outsource their work from Beijing to Tianjin to reduce costs. This labor-intensive job has given the city a lot of work, which allows for many workers to move to town. It's also considered to be very diverse for a Chinese city that includes minorities such as the Koreans, Mongols, and Manchu people. Located in northern China, there's an estimated 12 million inhabitants, and it's one of the largest cities in the world. For a long period of time, it was ruled by foreign imperialists until anti-capitalists began to seize control in the early 1900s. In modern times, it's a bustling metropolis, with people comparing it to China's Manhattan. Number 5. Shenzhen. Another massive city in southern China, Shenzhen maintains close ties to their Cantonese neighbors in Hong Kong. They are, however, gaining the economical advantage as they've recently surpassed Singapore and Hong Kong in GDP growth recently. They're also taught to embrace things about capitalism, yet under the guise of socialism with Chinese characteristics. Tourism is beginning to boom in this area as more and more Chinese gain expendable income. Some have considered to be a top 10 place to visit in 2019. With a population of 12.5 million, it's easily on our list as a Chinese megacity. Number 4. Guangzhou. Located not too far away from Shenzhen is another metropolis located on the Pearl River that's the capital and the most populous city of the Guangdong province. With an estimated population of 14.9 million people, many residents from Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and Africa flock to Guangzhou to make it a global city. A seemingly unknown opera house in the city of Guangzhou was completed in 2010, which cost over $200 million to construct. The theater became the biggest performing center in southern China and shows the dedication to China's growing arts program. This unique city has been praised by critics around the world for its unique modern look and its contribution to the city's skyline. It's also known for the Canton Tower, which soars 1,900 feet into the sky, which made it the tallest building in China until 2013. Number 3. Beijing. You better believe the capital of Beijing is going to make our list with roughly 21 million residents. It's home to the Forbidden City, which is possibly the most iconic palace in all of Asia. The Forbidden City was built from 1406 to 1420 as the imperial palace of the Ming Dynasty all the way until the Qing Dynasty in 1912. The cultural architecture displayed here has made an extremely important site and is now home to a museum which 14 million tourists visit each year. They want to see the priceless artifacts such as porcelain vases from the Ming Dynasty. Make sure you grab yourself some Peking duck and enjoy the large variety of Chinese food found here. Expats have given rave reviews about living here, saying it's not as dangerous or crowded as people might think. The pollution, though, can get a little bit out of control on some days, which can result in people wearing surgical masks, especially during the red alerts. Number 2. Shanghai. About 20 years ago, Shanghai was a large city, but still somewhat lacking the modern infrastructure. In 1964, there was a meager population of only 10.8 million people, but with China's emerging economy, it's now the largest city in China with a population of 26 million. You better believe it's going to have some pretty cool new modern structures. When buildings are normally covered in clouds, you know they're getting pretty tall. The Shanghai Financial Center is the 9th tallest completed building in the world, scraping the skies at 1,614 feet. What's also impressive about this is that it's also a complete building with rooms from top to bottom. Construction on this took about 10 years and was officially opened in 2008. You gotta wonder if they're trying to see what America's up to all the way from the top. The Shanghai Stock Exchange is also starting to have an increasing influence over the global capital market. It doesn't seem like American cities are keeping up with China, and we could be in some big trouble if we don't start to advance. Before we get to our number 1, we mentioned how the South China Mall was the second biggest mall in the world, but can you guys tell us what the biggest mall in the world is? Let us know the right answer in the comments section first, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. And number 1, Chongqing. Also known as Chongqing, this major city is often overlooked when discussing China's biggest cities. But after gaining a population of roughly 30 million people, the municipality is tough to forget about. The administrative municipality has a population of over 30 million people that takes up an area roughly the size of Austria. This population also includes roughly 23 million farmers, which kind of makes people think it's not really a city. But in any case, that's still a lot of people. It's also notable for its female population, which is roughly 50%, which is still quite high in China. In any case, it's growing a lot faster than many cities and will continue to expand as the years go by.
So what did you guys think of that video? Be sure you hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more epic American Eye videos. We'll see you next time.